At Oxford College of Business, we offer world-class business qualifications awarded by some of the best universities in the world. That's because all we do, all we are, is business education.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my honor and pleasure to invite here to the stage the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Honorable Minister, Philip, distinguished guests and friends, I must thank you for having invited me here today to take part in the World Economic Forum. They told me I have 3 minutes, stick to the 3 minutes. So I put on my politician's watch, but because at 3 minutes, there will be a big signal. It will go off. The World Economic Forum in Delhi this year, it says the world is expecting India to translate its potential into action, that we are at the threshold of another historic moment. If the pace of reform fails to pick up, companies may look elsewhere. Where is elsewhere? It has to be India or China. That's the hard truth. There is no other place to go today. The rules were written by the West, globalization. And the empire, we have only played by it. You encourage, or most of these people here also went and deposited part of their funds and their assets in the Western countries. No one complained. When their own people started going to Switzerland, they started complaining. Now everyone has to take the assets out and take it back home. That's one way, when it affects them only. If we came and banked there, all and good. But if we don't get revenue, because our revenue is also going into those tax havens, then it is all bad. I was reading, they were commending India for ease of doing business. But yesterday I read Theresa May. Every factory must put down all the employees there and how many are foreign and how many are not. What will happen to India if you do that? Okay, we will bail out. Asia will bail the world out if we are allowed to write the rules. Otherwise, we create our own system here. We'll do it, I mean, it will be a very, very stable system. Not like in America, one day you find the Deutsche Bank 14 billion, and next day you say you can go off with 4 or 5 billion. So, let me say a few words of what we in Sri Lanka want to do, together with India and the other Asian countries. Recently, the IMF revised downward these figures for global growth. However, South Asia sustained itself as the fastest growing region in India as the engine of growth. China, which is rebalancing its economy, is also maintaining an acceptable level of growth. The better performing Asian economies provide Sri Lanka with space to carry out our major reforms. These are a macroeconomic stabilization, which is based on fiscal consolidation, increase of tax revenue, which will reduce our budget deficit to 3.5% by 2020 with a primary surplus of 1%. And this stabilization program will be accompanied by measures to restructure the economy, which includes exchange rate flexibility and trade liberalization, to make Sri Lanka a platform for value addition. We are also liberalizing the tariff and the non-tariff barriers that have denied our enterprises the opportunity of getting access to the latest technology and know-how, and deprived our consumers of the best quality of goods and services. We are also taking measures to see a rapid improvement of the ease of doing business by the early part of 2018. Maximizing on these factors will transform Sri Lanka into a geo-economic center of South Asia, dynamically and synergistically engaged with the rest of the region. A key thrust is our trade policy. Small domestic markets are insufficient to sustain growth. Therefore, a shift to greater export orientation is required to achieve a growth of 8%. Hence, our trade policies will focus on gaining access to these markets. The tripartite arrangement. We are cognizant that the economic asymmetry between Sri Lanka and India is going to increase in the future when the latter emerges as a major global player in an increasingly multipolar world. The India-Sri Lanka FTA between the two countries will be further expanded and deepened to go beyond trading goods to cover trade in services, investments, and technology cooperation. The proposed economic and technology cooperation agreement will be signed by the end of this year. Both ministers who are working on it are present in this room today, and Prime Minister Modi and I decided we must conclude it by end of this year. The ETCA offers a strategic economic advantage to our country and the fastest growing southern Indian states. These 5 southern states, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Telengana have a population of 250 million people and a combined GDP of nearly US 450 billion. With the addition of Sri Lanka's 22 million and US 80 billion economy, the GDP in this sub-region will be US 500 billion. That is Sweden. This is without getting together. Just imagine if we work together. So that's where your growth will come, madam. You, I, both of us are from the same region. ETCA has the potential to promote a rapid growth of US 500 billion sub-regional economy. And that's where you come in. You have to put the infrastructure in, put up the buildings, supply the cement, so many things. We are also negotiating a free trade agreement with Singapore. There is already a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, CEPA, between Singapore and India. Therefore, we believe that by next year, Singapore-India CEPA, Indo-Lanka ETCA, and the Sri Lanka-Singapore FTA will enable the southern sub-region of South Asia and Singapore to establish a tripartite arrangement for trade and investment. Now, it's not only both of us and our southern states and Sri Lanka. We always wonder who has the better crab curry, Kerala or us. But you bring Singapore in. And then why not, as I've speaking to the Prime Minister, why not Indonesia? Why not Malaysia and the other remaining BIMSTEC countries? So let's have a whole area around the Bay of Bengal, place of economic cooperation and a vibrant market. I mean, that's what we envisage, and that's what we should work for. The growth is here. At the end of the day, it's not neoliberalism or free marketeerism or anything else that worked. It was that in our areas, people just multiplied. We gave the basic services, and now there's sufficient income in hand for the takeoff. So let's look at it. One Belt, One Road. A free trade agreement with China under One Belt, One Road initiative is being negotiated. This is necessary for us to make a success of the Chinese investments that has come into the Hambantota ASEA hub, which will also be industrialized with industrial parks, and the proposed financial city, which is on a renegotiated agreement for the port city. There has been a lot of suspicion as to a military element in it. There are no military element, and I can't. We are told that very, very clear to the Chinese. Chinese have agreed. But what from I discussed with them, it's going to be their own mode of economic diplomacy, pushing all the way to Europe. At a time like this, we might as well utilize the initiative also and this will be a meeting point. Sri Lanka's long-standing economic cooperation in Japan will help us further to modernize the economy. We are now discussing on a much closer agreement with Japan, and while they are talking with us, the Japanese are also talking with the Delhi, and also Singaporeans are talking with Delhi and with us. So you can see while there are all bilateral agreements, there will be synergy in these agreements. So here you are getting a big economic area for business. The major people are coming in. The Minister for Development Strategy went into South Korea. I'll be traveling there, that they would also like to join in. So this is where the action is. Don't go anywhere, be around in the region. And when you are tired, you can come to Sri Lanka for a holiday. We have got some good boutique hotels. And the Japanese are working on a Candy mega development project. It was a city of 1.5 million people, the science and technology project. The Singaporeans, Japanese, and Indians are working on the Trinco economic development project. We have already made application to the European Union to regain the GSP Plus facility for tariff relief. This facility will give Sri Lanka a competitive edge in accessing the single European market. So our idea is that we will have access to the Chinese market, Indian market, Singaporean market, and the European market in the first round. We will have to negotiate separately with UK, who has taken 40% of our exports to the single market. And we are also planning to negotiate with USA after the presidential election. And in preparation for it, we have also set aside about 500 acres for a golf course and a Trump building. The key sectors which we are looking at immediately are the manufacturing services, which includes, I don't know if this is appropriate to look at the fourth industrial revolution, digital economy, all this gets into it. And we are seriously thinking of robotics. I think Sri Lanka's rapid gain in population will not be that rapid. It's going to be in other South Asian countries, Indonesia, Myanmar, not in Sri Lanka. And we may have to go looking at the aspirations of our people to go in for robotics. Logistics, finance and business, because we want to become logistics hub. Finance, business, tourism, which is the low-hanging fruit that we are working on. But there are other areas also, and we will be opening it out. In the physical infrastructure, poor physical infrastructure is one of the problems of South Asia. And we want, if we have to exploit our geostrategic position, the government headed by President Maithripala Sirisena has decided to build on certain areas to enable Sri Lanka to become the logistic, finance and business hub of the Indian Ocean. And we have already planning out this program of physical infrastructure development to overhaul the sea, air, road transportation, energy sector and telecommunications so as to form the backbone of the hub. Let me explain to you the two major development corridors. The Kandy-Colombo-Hambantota corridor that will reshape country's urban landscape with 2 airports, 2 seaports. This corridor will amalgamate 5 separate projects. The Kandy Mega Development Project, which is the Japanese have undertaken to plan. The Vayamba, the Northwestern Industrial and Tourism Development Project that will take the spillover of industries and tourism in the western area. The US $40 billion Western Megapolis Project aims to develop the Western Province as a megapolis with metropolitan areas on a global scale. The Colombo port will be modernized with up-to-date infrastructure to accommodate triple E-class megaships. The Katunayake International Airport will be further expanded. It will include a logistics corridor, industrial cluster, a science and technology city. The proposed financial city built on 269 hectares from the sea will fill the vacuum for financial service hub along the trading route between the cities of Singapore and Dubai. The financial city will function as a special jurisdiction area with its own economic and commercial laws based on the English law. We'll just apply the English law in toto to facilitate operations of global multinational corporations and grow as a business and financial hub. Finally, the Southern Tourist and Industrial Project, and last of all, the $10 billion Hambantota Area Hub Economic Development Project, which invites investment to build oil refineries, power generation plants, and industrial zones. The second is the Rajarata Corridor on the eastern side. The Sri Lanka government has entered into agreement with Subana Jurong Private Limited to prepare the master plan for Trincomalee based on shipping, manufacturing, and tourism. The Trincomalee port is envisaged as a major transshipment port for the Bay of Bengal trade. We are also holding discussions with India and Japan in regard to this project. An area of 176 kilometers to the south of Trincomalee will also be developed as a high-end tourist resort. Then other area to the north of Trincomalee too. We haven't left that out. The North Central Province Development Program with two large reservoirs that is being built, the Moragahakanda Reservoir and the Malvatuvaya Reservoir for irrigation for agriculture. 3, rebuilding both the economy and the social life in the northern province. And finally, modernizing agriculture and fisheries in this mainly rural economy of the Rajarata Corridor. To achieve this human capital, the last of all, to achieve this ambitious program, Sri Lanka aims to make vast strides in improving the quality of our human capital, our most invaluable resource. Over the next decade, an example of how talented our people are can be seen in the significant overrepresentation of Sri Lankan managers in specialized ready-made industry garment sectors across Bangladesh and parts of India. So our program includes 13 years of compulsory education. Every child will have to receive a compulsory education, maybe academic, maybe vocational. A promotion of preschools and daycare centers. That also means higher participation of women in the labor force. Modern vocational and technical education tied to the job market. C, promoting English learning and IT. And finally, promoting innovation and the establishment of our technology institute for higher education and research. What is our final aim? Our final aim is a very highly competitive social market economy, not a socialist market economy. It's a market economy in which the benefits are shared equitably by the people. We will see finally, we have already had a program of financial inclusion, passed a new law on microcredit, and a new program to promote small and medium enterprises. Finally, the jobs will come from the small and medium enterprises and microcredit. As some of the industries go towards automation, this is where the job creation and the income comes. We will aim for a highly inclusive, fair, high inclusion, and fair and equal opportunity, and broad-based ownership. We are already vesting the lands given to farmers by the government, over 1 million people with freehold title. These are bankable documents. Houses which they occupied for generations, to give them the ownership. Our final aim is to create jobs, increase income, expand the middle class, and stabilize our rural economy. If we have done that, then our people will be happy. That's the formula that everyone wants, whether it's been in India, China, Korea, Japan, or down into Thailand. I think we can deliver, and we can make it on our own, and we can build our own markets. But then, as I said earlier, we must also be allowed a share in writing the rules. Thank you.